Yo, what's going on, everybody? Something different, something new. I'm actually recording. Yes, you can see my hands. You can actually see that I am very retarded. And I'm actually going to be doing something Yu-Gi-Oh related today. I'm going to be bringing you a deck profile over one of my personal favorite decks that I've been playing and or messing with. It is Vision Hero OTK, but you can also just play it as Pure Vision, or right, not Pure Vision Hero, Vision Heroes. Simply because I believe Vision Heroes are amazing, and especially now that Sky Striker and Orcust are somewhat out of the meta. They're kind of dead because Engage and Harp Horror got banned, or not banished, banned. Harp Horror wants to be banished by his own effect. But anyways, I feel like now that the game's kind of moving in a direction that you can play more openly rogue decks, and this is just like local, like this build is meant for like a locals. It's not the most consistent, and it's not the most overly competitive. So I'm gonna move these out of the way, and I'm gonna get starting off. We have 3 copies of Vision Hero Ferris. Now, with this deck, you're wanting to go second a lot of the time, if not all the time. And if you want your Ferris in your hand, you always want to have this card in your hand. His effect is you can discard another hero monster in your graveyard, special summon it, and when it's normal or specialed, you can put a Vision Hero from your deck into your spell and trap zone as a continuous trap. And that's really all he does. He's a hard once, and he's just really good. Even though, yeah, he can technically be, because you have to discard in order to summon, and he gets you a card out of the deck. You still go down to 4 cards in hand when you start at 6, going second, 3 if you're going first. But yeah, I love running him at 3, and that -1 turns into a lot of pluses later on. And next up, the one off of Ferris the whole time. 3 copies of Vision Hero Increase. This card you can definitely bump down to 2, maybe. It's all preference, but all of the Vision Heroes except for Ferris and Dawn have the same effect that he does, where if this card is in your graveyard, if this card is in your graveyard and you take any sort of damage, battle or effect damage, you can place this card in your spell and trap zone as a trap. The important part about this is the fact that all of them go in as traps. So they're spell speed 2, which means if you get a slow hand or you end up going for like a bunch of Vision Heroes like Increase or some of the other ones that I'm running in your graveyard, your opponent does damage to you and you still have a couple monsters on board, you activate all of your different in the graveyard and put them all down here, out into one of these summon effects off. And Increase's special summon effect is whenever it's summoned, you can summon a level 4 or lower Vision Hero monster from your deck. Effects are not negated, and yeah. Yes, this card does get hit by Ash because it's summoned straight out of the deck, but it's just a really good card, and it's what starts your card advantage to go up. Deck is kind of like, it's going to play from the graveyard, but it's also going to play on the field, and it's just going to do a bunch of crazy stuff. Next up, we have a hero staple, I guess you can say, and that's 3 Vision Hero Vion. Everybody knows what this does, but if you don't, whenever it's normal or special, you can send a hero monster from your deck to the graveyard, and then it should utilize his other effect to banish a hero to search for poly, because in this, the amount of polys I run in this deck, it can be switched around, but still, even then, I don't really see it that often. Yeah, that's Vion. Next, we've got 3 copies of Vision Poisoner, and everything else. You can really mess with the amount of copies you run. I run 3 Poisoner. If you are going first, get him in your graveyard. Getting him out on the board ASAP is great, because his his summon effect is have the attack and of your opponent controls. Non-targeting, have the attack of a monster your opponent controls. I think it's pretty good. Wait, does it target? I'm just checking to see if it does target. Yeah, no, doesn't target. It just says you can have the attack of a monster your opponent controls. But yeah, it's also a name, so the names are important. Having different names is important in this deck because of the extra deck. Next up, we're going into our E-Heroes. 3 copies of Solid Soldier. Now, a lot of people have been really hyping up Liquid Soldier, and I'm going to be honest, Liquid Soldier is not worth the $40 for this deck. You can run it if you want. I just don't think it's worth the $40 for 1 copy, and then the $120 for 3 copies when you $3 to buy 3 copies of this card, which is actually an amazing card for this deck. Whenever it's normal summon, you can special summon a level 4 or lower hero from your hand. Or no, you can just special summon another hero from your hand. And then whenever it's sent from your monster zone to the graveyard by a spell effect, let me move those more off camera. You can target a level 4 or lower hero monster in your graveyard and special summon it. He gains you a little bit of advantage. And by a little bit, I mean a nice bit of advantage. Because, you know, summon a monster from your hand. Whenever it goes to the graveyard for your fusion summon, you get one of the fusion materials back, or you just get a deck that gains you extra advantage. Very good card. Very good monster. I honestly, personally, think it's better than Liquid Soldier. But that's just me. This deck is very monster heavy, but you do want to run your spells and traps, and you want to see those. Next up, this one's probably obvious, since I said we're getting into our E-Heroes for the deck. Stratos. So, I'll show combo with this deck after I'm done going over all the cards. Stratos, you want to see him in your hand with Solid Soldier. Simply because, you know, Solid Soldier can summon and then search you a card. So essentially what Solid Soldier becomes is a put 2 monsters on board, search a card for your normal summon. And that's going to be your normal summon, is you're going to normal summon Solid Soldier. That you want that to be your normal summon. After you've done Ferris into Increase into Vion. So basically when you do your normal summon, you're going to have 4 monsters on board and a few cards in hand. But yeah, Stratos, very self-explanatory. And you can actually use his MST effect if you want. Yeah. Now this card, I'm not so sure about if it's at 3 or if it's at 2 right now. The only parts of the ban list I've ever paid attention to were to see if anything big got hit in the meta. But 3, malicious. This is a simple fix. If it is at 2, you can add another copy of Poly or another. I'm not running Super Poly in this deck. There's no need. At least not right now with the extra deck that it has. But the extra deck needs completely reworked. Minus a couple of other things. He has 3 copies of Malicious. In your opening hand, you want to see these 2 cards. Play. If you don't see both, your Vion sends this to the graveyard, and then you just get +2 off of his effect in the grave. Going into our 2-ofs, we have 2 Vision Hero Minimum Ray. He's more of a, I want to say, you go first and your opponent's playing a burn deck. He's situational with his effect because his effect is send a hero to the graveyard, summon it, and then whenever it's summoned, you destroy a level 4 or lower, you target and destroy a level 4 or lower monster your opponent controls. Record this. So if you hear my phone buzz, somebody was texting me. So minimum ray. I wouldn't really suggest running any more than 2 minimum ray. Okay, phone. Shut up. I'm actually gonna put on Do Not Disturb that sooner. If this video comes up really choppy, I'm so sorry, because I can see it lagging on my phone. But anyways, 2 Shadow Mist because yes, and I'm only running 2 Shadow Mist because 3 was a bit clunky in all person. 2 Shadow Mist is perfect because if you hard draw one of the boss spell in this deck, and you really only need one of their effects to go off. So if you banish one copy and the other copy's still in your deck, you're fine. So, and last but not least, our only one of monster, Vision Hero Gravito, just a name. Whenever he's summoned, what does he? I don't even think I've ever resolved his. Oh, summoned, recur banished hero back to your hand. He does something else involving the Vision Heroes and their trap card effect in the spell and trap zone. So, you know, that's it. That's all the monsters. I know, right? This is a 40 card deck, and that's all the monsters. On to the spells. We have copies of Mask Change. Now, you can swap one copy of this out for like another copy of Poly. For you can do a lot of things with this deck, and you can alternate. This build works for me a lot. So, 3 copies of Mask Change. Everybody knows target a hero you control, send it to the Great Extra deck with the same attribute. 3 copies of E-Call. Now, I know to be, but it fixes your hand a little bit. It's a 1-for-1 in card advantage because you ditch this, you get a Shos and Solid Soldier thing. Or if you open 2, you basically have the combo in your hand. You basically have those in your hand. And yeah, that's why I run 3 E-Call. You can put it down to 2, or you can completely cut it if you want. Next up, like I said, running a just good card draw for dark monsters, and majority of the deck is dark. The only non-dark monsters are Stratos and Solid Soldier. The only ones that are not dark, so your deck is very dark monster heavy. 2 ofs. For spells, I have a Vision Fusion. The reason why I'm running 2 copies of this is if you do end up going first and you have all of your guys back here in your spell and trap zone, but you have a free zone up, you can use this to use up to 2 in your spell and trap zones as fusion materials, which is really cool. It's really nice. It's nice to have just for the off chance that you go first and your opponent does, you know, who goes first, who goes second. 2 copies, Poly. I only run the 2 copies because you really only need the 2 copies. Because with the 2 copies, you can fusion summon like 4 times. It's ridiculous. I know. And then lastly, for the main deck, last card in the main deck, 1 Monster Reborn. Yes, I'm running Monster Reborn, and it is a black letter. I like it. I like it a lot. So that's it for the main deck, 40 card main deck. And now moving on into the extra deck. Sorry, I had to fix my hair. 3 copies of Extra Hero, the amount of cross creatures. I actually need to fix up this extra deck. 100%. This is not okay. When the only Destiny Hero monster you are running is Militia. Okay. God, this is going to be a 20-minute deck profile, and I don't think anybody's actually going to watch it. But I'm going in explaining all these cards. So 3 copies of that. I'm running 2 copies of Dread Decimator. This is reasonable. Of Dread Decimator. Very reasonable. You can definitely pull this off. And this is the reason why names are important. Because it's 100 for each different name. And most of the time, by the end of your combos, you're going to have at least 10 plus names in your graveyard. Because, yes, there's enough names for that. 1 Extra Hero Wonder Driver. I want to bump this up to 2. So I 2 of all of the hero links. But, you know, I'm only running it at the 1. Now, this next extra deck card. Do not judge me. I wanted 15 cards in the extra deck. And I was thinking of, like, opponent. Or go first, and I don't really get the most optimal hand. And I live through my opponent's turn, and I'm not under the lockdown effect of my heroes, where they say you can only summon heroes for this turn. I run. It's negation. It's a 2800 body. It's a Link 3. Requires 3 warriors with different names. This deck. Really not. And, I mean, like, the negation effect is really nice. One Master Hero Anki. We're getting into our fusions. I need to speed through this. I don't know if I'll actually show you guys the comments. Definitely explain them. Anki. Obviously, you want to run one of him. The best Masked Hero ever printed. Dark Law. I know the best condition. Come on, camera focus. There we go. Yeah, I do have another copy of this card somewhere that I could replace. I just decided to do this on the spot. One Masked Hero divides your opponent to attack with one monster. Yes, they can get rid of him with card that can get around that. But if they don't have a way to deal with that outside of the battle phase, 2700... limiting your opponent to one monster battle phase. Only your opponent, too. He only limits your opponent to that. And then whenever he destroys something, you get to draw a card. I really wish this wasn't so, like, choppy. Now here's where the extra deck really needs some work. 3, Trinity. I definitely need to bump this down to, like, and get some other. Glee is an OTK on himself whenever he's summoned. Points. Can attack monsters 3 times. Can't attack. So he hits the board as a 5,000. If you have your Dread Decimator on board, out to be like 6,000, 6,100. Can attack 3 times. And last but not least, for the extra deck, 2 Vision Hero. I love Adoration because he basically turns him into, or gives him the ability to attack directly, because you control. The monster your opponent controls loses attack equal to your hero's attack. So, you know, target Trinity, almost anything's going to 0. Trinity can attack into that. That 6,000 attack. So, yep, that's it for all. I just realized that this minute-long deck profile. If you guys want to combos with this deck, or you want to see more deck profiles, let me know down in the comment section below. Leave a like. Be sure to share this video around. I actually want to grow my channel, and I really like Yu-Gi-Oh! I love Yu-Gi-Oh! So if you want to see more deck profiles, I have some more decks I can do deck profiles over for you guys. And, well, just like, it motivates me. There we go. There's my thumb. So if the video was choppy, can only use my phone. So if anything was choppy, let me know, please, for the love of God. Let me know down there in the comments. Later.